Welcome to KEM WordPress community. I am really excited to introduce Debbie Dybovich from Star Consulting, who is going to be our guest speaker today. Debbie, let me tell you a little bit about Debbie. Debbie was an IT business analyst and a project manager at a Fortune 500 company, so you can't get much better than that, before branching out as a university professor. So yes. It's a lady that really knows her stuff. And Debbie is also the owner and founder of Star Systems and Consulting, where she works with entrepreneurs to help them build a business that is sustainable and scalable. And those are two super important words that we really need to be aware of when we're going into business. And Debbie is your lady for building a business that is sustainable and will grow with you. So what we're going to be talking about today is the secret of systems. So Debbie's going to talk to us about how systems are absolutely essential in your business and can save you, and I couldn't believe this when Debbie shared this with me, but up to 8 hours a week. Can you imagine what you could do with those 8 hours? I could do a lot. So we're going to help us streamline our businesses and will enable us to grow our businesses too. So Debbie's going to share with us her golden tips and tricks to help you get your business automated and learn how to create a 5-star system for your business. Don't forget, guys, if you comment #KEM, then you're in to get the wonderful resources that Debbie's going to talk to us about shortly. So I am now going to stop talking and I'm going to hand over to Debbie. Over to you, Debbie.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for the awesome welcome and the opportunity to be here. I am super stoked to be here.
Happy to have you.
Great. And I'm hoping that everybody's going to get some tips. I like to say that I'm a tech tamer, but my middle name really is Star, STARR. And I think a systems geek should also be my middle name. So I've done everything in the professional world, the IT world, all that kind of stuff. And what I like to tell entrepreneurs is that the secret to everything, the secret sauce, is creating systems. But you and I had chatted about this before, and sometimes you hear the word systems and people kind of freak out. And, they think it's
sorry. I'm so sorry, Debbie. I'm going through and I'm trying to change my descriptions so we don't have the restream.io link because Facebook pings you for it and will hide all this wonderful material that we're sharing. And unfortunately, it keeps defaulting to sound. So my apologies.
Oh, okay. I thought we were being flooded with tons of people, so I was excited. So anyway, before I jump in and give you some really great examples of how people can use it every day in their business, I first just like to say that the reason people need to understand what systems are and what it can do for you is that they get caught up in this rat race almost. You're rushing, you're trying to do everything, you're wearing all these hats, but the ball's dropping, you get sidetracked, you just feel so overwhelmed. And so I like to use this story, which it's probably happened to all of us. You wake up late, the alarm didn't go off, you've got an important meeting to go to, so you jump out of bed and you're just scrambling, trying to throw clothes on, hope that you've got everything that you need. You rush out the door. You get halfway there, and then you realize you forgot your vitamins or your medicine you take in the morning. And then you show up and you realize, wait a minute, where's that important contract or that folder? And it could just go on. And the reason all of that happens is because normally you have a morning routine or a system that you're following.
Yeah.
You might not even realize it, but it is a system. So my system, I get out of bed, wash my face, brush my teeth, take my morning medicine. So it's like clockwork, and I don't have to think about it. Yeah. Well, in a business, it's even more important to create systems. And we're not talking about, it doesn't have to be techie systems. It's just a routine of what you're doing. But what I like to tell people is there is a difference between systems and habits. So a habit is something that you do on a routine basis, but not all habits serve you well. So there's probably a lot of, especially moms or entrepreneurs, the end of the day, you crash back on your couch and you start eating your junk food and you watch your favorite Netflix. That just might be a habit that you've fallen into. It doesn't necessarily serve you well. So that's a routine, but it's more of a habit. You've fallen into it. So with a system, it's deliberate. You plan ahead and you figure out what's going to work for your business. So, and we have a document that I'm going to share, but before we jump into that, I'd like to give you another example of an excellent business example, I guess, of systems in place. Now we have Starbucks. Do you guys have Starbucks over there?
The best of coffee, I have to say. I've got much. Much prefer.
That's right. So, I'm a Starbucks girl also. And so as you drive into the parking lot, even before you get out of the car, there are actually systems in place where they place the trash bin, when you walk in the door, how the store is laid out, even how you greet you, how they take the order. Everything is a system. Nothing is left for chance. And the beauty of that system is that's why and how they've been able to franchise and easily open new stores. So with your business, you may not be thinking, oh, I'm going to franchise, but most of the clients that I work with, they would like to scale. They would like to hire a VA or bring on team members. Well, you can't do it until you get these systems in place. So I've come up with a little acronym, the 5-STAR method, to create systems. So I do have a little handout that, can you share my screen?
If you share it, then I can come in and add it to the stream. That will be absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see here which one. Sharing works best. It's easiest on 2. Okay, we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, okay, I thought I'd just do it really quick. As soon as I see that come up.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, so I'm going to add that to the stream, put us on the side, and away we go.
Okay. And actually, let me just move this.
Because I was actually having a little look at your resources before we went live.
Oh, great.
I have to say that you have some amazing design skills as well. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Now here it is. So I'm just making this large screen here. So, so the 5-STAR method to create these systems. So the acronym that I'm using, of course, is STAR. Yeah. So we're just going to go through each of these steps here. So the first step is steps, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then teach, automate, review and revise, and repeat. So the number one thing that you do, identify the main steps. So in our business, we all have different facets of our business. So just pick one area. And so in the example that I'm going to use here, if I can find it, and I'm going to talk more about this here in just a minute. So whatever your business is, video is the way to go nowadays. So, let's say you're a coach and part of your business of getting new clients is creating video. Well, what are all of the steps of video? So, so going back to that that first leg of the business is you would want to basically create a document for each main facet of your business.
Okay.
And then just kind of start drilling down. Now, a technique that I use in some of my courses is called mind mapping. I don't know if you've ever done mind mapping before.
Yes, I have, and I've taught it as well.
Oh, awesome. So you understand the beauty of mind mapping. It really is how our mind thinks. So, and there's free tools out on the internet, and I forgot to give you the link of the one I use, but I can send that to you. So basically, you start with your main topic and then, or your main subject. So here, I'm just saying, okay, in your business, if part of your business is creating video, then what are the main areas? Well, the first area might be you need to come up with a list of topics. And then underneath that, planning sessions, what dates, keywords, tags, and so forth.
Yeah.
Then the next major area is production. What are you going to do to actually do the producting or the productivity of those videos? Plan your wardrobe, makeup, create your set, and then do the filming. Then you've got your editing and so forth. It just goes around.
Yeah.
On your uploading, I'm going to come back to this in a minute, but I just want to mention this. So on your uploading, when you create videos, you might post them to your Facebook group, you might upload them to YouTube, and upload them to your website.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyway, so the list goes on. So going back to the first thing you need to do is identify the main steps. So you've really got the great big tree of all of the different facets of your business, and then just pick one area. So here, as I'm saying, we picked one area, and that's video creation. And mind map those main steps, start creating those main branches, and then just start brainstorming. And, you know, the beauty when you use a tool like a mind mapping, you can always go back. It's very easy. This is just a PDF, but it's very easy to click and add more legs to it. So it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So then the second piece of creating these systems, I just use the word teach. So in other words, how would you teach that process? So the tendency that people have, and the reason why it's so hard for them to do that brain dump, to be able to take that information and share it with a team member or a VA, is you've got all of this information. So what I say is pick just one little thing. So going back here, really, you're going to be creating like training documents, so to speak, for each one of these. So let's take the uploading piece. So you would start with that, or not start with it, but if you were creating a document there, then, you know, describe the big picture. Well, the big picture is, okay, every time I create a video, there's 3 places that I upload it. And then as you're starting to craft your document, pretend like you're teaching. So when you're teaching, you have to teach to the lowest level. So, okay, you're going to upload it to Facebook. Well, here's my Facebook, the name of my Facebook channel. Here's my login credentials here. And then you just go down the line. And then, as I'm saying here, you just make sure that you write down all of the steps.
Yeah.
And there's a process that I use. It's called, it's a 2-step process. There's something called information mapping. And it's a scientific way of creating documents so that the mind can remember and the mind can absorb it. So I've created a system, I call it eye mapping, where you take information and you map it out, you analyze it, and then you process it, and you create a document similar to this. So lots of white space. Over here, you've got these caption headings. So it's very simple. In 2 seconds or less, you can look at it and say, oh, okay, if I wanted to upload some captions to my Facebook video, this is how I would do it. And then down here, it gives me the steps 1 through 7, and then that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
So again, coming back here to our mind map, this uploading piece, then we've created that process. And the beautiful thing systems is all about one and done. Anything you do one time, or if you're going to do it more than one time, identify it, and then sooner or later go back and write a process for it. So even if I never bring on a team member, I know for myself that I'm going to start. I haven't done it yet, but they're saying it's kind of interesting statistic is saying over 85% of people watch video without sound. Did you know that?
Only when I read your handout before the live, and that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Yes, so it's really important to start adding captions to our videos, and so I'm going to start doing it. And until this becomes second nature, I'm going to be pulling this document out for myself every time, so that I know exactly how to do this process. So again, we're going back to creating this system. So we've identified an area that we're going to work on, and then we write information as if we were going to teach it to somebody. And down the road, that's our goal. Maybe we can hand off some of these pieces.
Yeah.
And then the next step, the A, is for automate. Find ways to automate. So again, of this process, what steps are repeatable, and can you create templates for it? So going back over here to my little document, one thing that I do every time I upload videos to Facebook, I have a customized thumbnail. So it always looks the same. The only thing that I change is just the header description right on it. So on Canva, I have a little template. Literally takes me not even a minute. I am not exaggerating. I open up that template, change the title, download it, and then I'm good to go. Yeah. So as we're looking at ways to automate, it's not always software that automates it. So are there templates we can use? Or even in this document, I have a Word template that I use. And that template, I just change the title, change these, and then just start typing in my little table here. I just change that. Even down to the point, I have a little process where it inserts the footer, and the footer is actually using a form, what do they call it? Like a field
system, isn't it? Where it actually shows you where everything's saved to.
Yes, absolutely. Really, because if you're like me, I can't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. So as I'm creating this document, as soon as I start typing it, I do a file save as, give it a name, and then this little footer down here, I update the footer. It automatically puts that document name in there. And 6 months from now, when I need to edit this, I know exactly what it is. So that's just a couple of examples of ways that you can automate. And then there's also software tools. So for instance, on your social media, like Hootsuite, for instance, it's a software tool that you can use to also automate. So as you're creating this 5-star method to create systems, you're asking yourself all these questions all the way through it. So is it repeatable? Can I use a template? What can I do to automate the process so that I'm not constantly reinventing the wheel? And the bottom line is so that I can save all that time and focus on what's really important for me.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is, if you're a programmer, you recognize this, the if-then statement. So all that means is, if this happens, do that. If this or if that happens, do this. So I want people to start thinking about, not that you're writing any programming, but I want you to think about it. So if I create a Facebook Live, then what I'm going to do, and then, I would have a little process set up where it steps me through 1, 2, 3, everything I do. And so if you start thinking in this way, it's going to help you learn to create those systems. And then before long, you're going to go crazy because you're going to realize there are so many systems you can create. And even though it takes time up front, Oh my goodness. It will save you so much time in the long run.
That makes so much sense. Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny actually, because Debbie joined me in the studio before we went live, and I was just talking through all the steps that I was going through as I was going through them. And of course, Debbie then said, "You need a system for that," which makes perfect sense, because oftentimes you come to something like this and you don't really think about the fact that there are steps that you are repeating each time. And I think having those systems in place enables you to see them visually and allow enough time for them as well. So it makes perfect sense.
Yes, absolutely. And once you start creating these systems, it gets so much easier, so that you'll be able to just, and literally any job that I've had, I just can't help myself. I create systems. So by the time I leave that job, I've created a whole procedure book, because it's ingrained in my mind to do it. I just can't help it.
Yeah.
So then the next step, number 4, is R for review and revise. So you've created these little processes. You've started to document things like this. Then the next thing you need to do is find somebody new, give them this document and say, does this make sense? And could you follow it? So when you have the actual action steps, have them go through it. And it's priceless, because then they're going to come back with you and they're going to say, I don't understand. What did you mean by that? And then you'll be like, oh, okay, yes. Because again, you're not teaching at that lowest common denominator for them to do it. So it's so important to use new eyes when you do it. Find out what their questions are, then go back and revise it, and then have them test it again. And then the final R is repeat. As at least they say in the United States, rinse and repeat. Once you've got it protected, or once you've got it perfected, you just move forward and you just keep repeating it. And so at this point, once you've done it for that first area of your business, then go back to your mind map, pick another area, and do the same thing again. And before you know it, you are going to start creating this beautiful, we call it a playbook or a procedures manual, and it will enable you to scale your business. And again, so if you want to hire people, do whatever, and you'll be able to free up all of this time, so that really you can focus on being the CEO. And so this will be a little handout that we'll make available, and I'll put in a little plug, and then I have another little story that I'd like to share with you. And so I just wanted to mention, I have different ways that I help people. So I have an online course that I'm just getting ready to, I've revised it, doing that review and revising. So that's going to be available. And I've also got some, what I call done for you, which really let's do it together type coaching packages that I can help people. I wanted to tell you this story, and this is a true story. It'll take a couple minutes to set the stage here, but my husband and I sometimes do some volunteer work, and it's like a building and construction work. So we had borrowed a friend's big utility van, and we had driven to this site. We'd spent all day long working in the hot sun. He's into HVAC, heating and cooling, so we were installing this system. So it was time for us to come home. And so I told my husband, I said, let me drive. You just take it easy. So I climb up into this big old van, and we get on this really busy highway, driving along, and all of a sudden, wham, the front hood flies up.
Oh, no.
And usually it'll fall back down. It didn't. It stood up like that. And the scary thing was, it hit so hard it literally broke the windshield. And
Wow.
so there was this hole and glass was all over the place. And I scream easily. And so when it happened, I screamed. And so then my mouth was open. And then I'm afraid to like swallow because I think I have glass.
Oh,
So
no.
I mean, it was so scary. And I'm coming to the point of why I'm telling this story here in a second. So, and again, this windshield is like this. Thankfully, my husband, who is calm and collected, he was with me, because if he wasn't, I would have been in an accident. Now, let me back up a minute. Rush hour traffic, they were doing construction along the side of the road, so there was no shoulder to pull off. So I couldn't even pull off.
No.
So, I mean, everything was going wrong. I could see a tiny little crack at the bottom. And my husband, bless his heart, he just kept saying, Debbie, just follow the white line. Look through the crack, follow the white line. And I'm like, okay. And I would kind of start to panic, and he would say, just follow the white line, just follow the white line. So we had to go a few miles, and then finally we were able to get off. And, I get out of the van and I'm like scraping I mean, it was, it was horrible. And I didn't swallow any glass. We survived. After that, he drove the rest of the way home. Absolutely horrible. But the reason I love to tell that story is it is so important to have a coach, to have someone that can kind of see the big picture, have someone to guide you along. So I love using that story when I work with entrepreneurs. We all need a coach at one time or another. We all need someone maybe that has a little bigger picture of what we're doing. So whether it's the services I offer, the services that you offer, sometimes you just need a little extra help there. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And so I had mentioned the new course I'm going to be rolling out, and I also have a freebie. It's kind of like a challenge. I hate to call it a challenge, but it's like a 10-day, get an email every day, 12 ways, but I'll do it over 10 days, how to get your inbox to zero. And there's multiple systems wrapped around your email. How can you get a handle on your inbox and your email so that you can, get it under control? So I'm also, we'll share the link, or if you'll want to share the link to that, if they're interested in that, they can sign up for that. And then they'll just get emails every day, and it'll help them get their email under control.
Okay, that sounds great. So what do you call that, so that I know what to put in the comments when we're finished?
That one is a 10-day inbox challenge.
10-day inbox challenge. I'll note of that, because I will write a note afterwards. 10-day inbox challenge. Perfect. Okay. Yes. Awesome. And we also, do you want to tell the viewers about the giveaway because we have, how many people have now commented #KEM? Fiona Sikat has, I hope I pronounced that correctly, or Sikat has, she's commented #KEM. We've got Amy Dimone has commented #KEM as well. So we normally have a giveaway for people that comment, and I'm sure there'll be some that comment after the live is finished too. So what can we give to them, Debbie?
Good. Well, I would love just to give them some of my time, so I can send them a link to my calendar, and if they want to jump on the phone with me or do a little computer session and just help them see if we can figure out an area anyway that they might want to set up some systems, at least to kind of get them going on that.
Okay, awesome. So I will put that in. And the handouts, can we also share those with anyone who?
Absolutely. Yep. So we've got the handout, give them the 5-star method to create those systems, and then the PDF that shows them how they can start creating a mind map, and then also the little procedure document that I had created, just to give them an idea of how they could write that information.
So procedure sample document. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Templates are probably better, isn't it? Cool. That's awesome. Well, I know I've learned a lot. Just
good.
Really fortuitous that I had you come on while I was going through my own systems. You know, you do these things, I don't know how many times a day, without really thinking about them. You just, I'm quite an evolutionary type of person these days. When I was a commercial litigator, I was completely into all of that. You know, we had to diarize everything, we had to have systems for everything. But I've become a lot more kind of evolutionary.
Yeah. And
into the online world, which probably isn't the greatest, but I go with the flow and figure things out as I go along. But it's time to put some systems into place, I think.
Yes. And actually, you know, part of it is the entrepreneur mindset, because we are entrepreneurs and we've got that creativeness, you know, we're kind of winging it. But I mean, what happens when you start getting a little traction in your business? You really do need to start creating those systems and around everything, because then you can really have the focus that you need to do the important things. And again, you know, one and done. If you think that, hey, wait a minute, I do this every week, then create a little system. And at first, you know, some of the stuff that I'm showing you might seem overwhelming. Just create a real little one. And the little inbox challenge, I think, will give people a lot of ideas, because there's all kinds of little mini systems built into how to handle your email so that it's not overwhelming. Just all kinds of systems for that. Yeah.
I mean, I find that just Gmail alone is great. When I was a lawyer, something that I remember really resonated and stayed with me throughout law. I can't remember if it was when I was doing my degree or whether it was law school. I can't remember which, but someone said, only touch a piece of paper once.
Yes.
And it's magical. It's so true. And I do that at home as well, not with paper, but with everything. If I touch something, I don't put it down and think, oh, I'll sort that later. I'm quite fastidious about that, if I have to do something with it, get it out of the way. I'm still working on my husband. He's a completely different kettle of
Absolutely. Yes. That's a perfect example. Yep. Yeah. That's very good.
Now I just want to have a bit of a shout out for the people that we have who have joined us. So we have James Earl Dickens has since joined us. Walter Renaud, welcome. Jean Yearn, welcome. Just saw her yesterday, actually. And so a Kiwi, it's always nice to see a Kiwi here. And Matthew Letner's joined us. Doug Mason has joined us. Don't forget, guys, comment #KEM to take advantage of this awesome offer we have from Debbie to book some time in her calendar and have a one-on-one with her to see how she can help you. So that's a pretty awesome offer. And also don't forget to comment and let us know if you are interested in any of the other resources. And there's the link again that you will see on the video to the other resource that we have there. You just have to follow the link, sign up, and you will receive that too. I'll just see who else. I'm having to scan different pages, but we'll just see. We have no questions as of yet. So we have Carl Weber said thank you for sharing. But do you have any questions, anybody, for Debbie? Let's make the most of this this systems superstar before we finish the live. Anyone, any questions? Not as of yet. Chris Murphy and Ali Obeid have joined us, as has Christopher Sheffield. Welcome to you all. Chris Murphy has commented #KEM, yay. So anything else that you would like to tell us about before we finish the live? We've certainly learned a lot. And we've got
Oh, good.
so
Good. Again, just I guess to remind people, don't let the word systems throw you off, and especially for people if they're just jumping on at the end. You know, we're not talking about the techie stuff that you go off into Never Never Land. It's just all about looking at how you do your business and figuring out the most efficient way so that it's serving you, not you running around trying to, you know, juggle all of these balls. But by creating these systems, it really will save you just tons and tons of time. So I just encourage people to do that. Yeah.
And also I like what you were saying about the thumbnails for your YouTube videos, the consistency and the cohesion that comes is also really important.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And if, you know, what I tell my clients is just pick what's the number one pain point of your business that you seem frustrated, or maybe the one area that you're doing a lot. So again, like Facebook Lives, if somebody's doing a Facebook Live weekly, that would be a great place to identify a system and just start mapping it out, doing that little mind map, and then picking just one thing and writing in a way to teach. And then, I mean, before you know it, your whole Facebook Live process is set up, ready to go. And it's easy. So,
and the other thing is that I was really aware of, it catches me unawares how long it takes, because everything takes longer than you think. Technology may not cooperate. Things take longer to load. There's a lot behind the scenes that goes on before a live, as Debbie has just witnessed with my preparations. So, yes, I think the time, the allowance of time is crucial. And when you see it in a system, then I think you expand the amount of time required, rather than just thinking, oh, okay, now I need to do this, then I need to do that. So that's that was really helpful. Now we have Fiona Sikat has asked a question, which we have here. If we have already launched our business and have not made the necessary systems, how much time do we need to spend daily on creating and reviewing?
Hi, that is a great question, because really the investment of time to create systems is probably the number one thing that holds people back from creating systems. But it's a catch-22. If you don't take the time up front, the problem just gets bigger as your business grows. So what I would suggest is, number one, decide. So decide, okay, I'm going to spend 30 minutes a day. Or maybe I'm going to do a block and I'm going to spend 2 hours, or maybe a 4-hour block every Friday. Just make a decision, because if you don't make that decision, it'll never get done. So let's say you're going to spend 30 minutes, then literally put it in your calendar. This is my system time from 8 to 8:30 every morning, and just start. You know, the saying is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, you know, it's not going to get created overnight, so don't get yourself frustrated, but, you know, at least invest in a little bit of time. Now, initially, again, there's been studies that if you can do more work in a concentrated time, you actually accomplish more. So if you're just starting out and you want to create some systems, then what I would suggest is try to dedicate 4 hours that first week. So pick a Friday afternoon or a Monday morning and block off 4 hours. And that's going to be your dedicated time, at least for that first week. And start doing some of this mind mapping to figure out what areas you need help with. And then after that, you know, if you need to just only dedicate half hour a day or whatever, but if you dedicate a block of time first, then you're actually going to get more momentum, and you're going to actually see some results. We're all results driven. So if we can see some results, if we can see some quick wins, then we're going to be more motivated, and we're going to see the end result. It's like, you know, so again, just like that Facebook Live, and maybe sometime, you know what, maybe I can do another session and I'll just show people how to create that little thumbnail. It's so easy once you do it. And then, you know, it's like, why didn't I do this before? So, you know,
makes sense. One question on that springs to mind. This is something that I've kind of toyed with. What's better, to have the consistency of the same thumbnail or the variety of different ones? That's been my struggle, because I do a lot of thumbnails.
yes.
Yeah.
So you can actually have both, the best of both worlds. There's a few people that I follow on YouTube, and the consensus is you want to stick with like your branding colors, maybe your branding fonts, and something similar. So you could probably change the picture if you wanted, but maybe have a slanted, I don't know what they call it, like a little block of color, you know, and then on that block of color is where you're putting the words, because they are realizing if you have just a few words, not a lot, but just a few in really large print, it kind of captures the eye a little. So again, looking at it, and if you put all of them side by side, people would recognize, oh yeah, that's yours. And they would gravitate towards it, but it would give you a little variety just by changing the picture up or something like that.
Yeah, but you've already got everything set up. You're just tweaking a few bits. So that makes sense. No, I had another question for you. What was it? Don't you hate that when they pop in?
I know.
No, it has gone. It may come back, but for now,
you'll remember it. Yeah, tonight at midnight. Yeah.
That was it. I remember now. It's to do with the wording, the subtitles that you suggested on the YouTube videos. So are you saying then that you need to pay for a service where it basically converts the audio to words, and then you upload
to captions? Yeah. So there's a couple of sites. One site that I use is called rev.com. And again, I can send you the links, or you can post them later. That one's a little more expensive. It's $1 a minute. But if you have a 10-minute Facebook Live, you know, for $10, it will do the translation for you. Then they also do what they call the captions, and it's also $1 a minute. And there's some other services out there that aren't that expensive. I say expensive, it's not really expensive based on, you know, how much is your time worth. But there's other services that do it similar. And but the key is just to get something, and then you'll be able to upload that file, and then the captions are there. So it's kind of a no-brainer. So if you spent, let's say, $10 to get those captions, again, going back to that statistic, that 85%, I know I do it. I don't want to bug my husband, or I don't want him to know what dumb, YouTube video I'm watching. So a lot of times I'll just listen to it muted, and you can kind of get the drift of what they're talking about. Yeah. But if the captions were there, then people are actually getting your message. And then again, it's drawing that interest in. So,
and clicks on that, on the difference that it makes for reach and engagement, because it would be really just so that people can do that cost benefit analysis, I guess, the cost of getting it done and the time.
I don't have any stats as far as the engagement, but again, it's pretty startling that 85% watch without the sound. So if you want to get your message out there, then you need to get that message out there through the written form. And even if they're listening to it from, of course, I'm putting on my teacher's hat here, the more senses you can engage, the more they remember, and the more invested they are. So if they're seeing and hearing, and, of course, if you have handouts and freebies and all of that, then it's just that much more. So and another quick tip, I guess I'll share with you, and I actually have a handout someplace that I could share with people if they wanted it. Just from doing a Facebook Live, you can, if you had that translated or dictated, get the text from it, you could repurpose that like at least into 8 different ways. So again, you're creating a system. So anytime I do a Facebook Live, or basically anytime I try to do a video, my little system is part of it is I get the captions made, I get the transcript made. Once the transcript comes back, what you can do is easily turn that into an article. Then that article, I send it out to my, I put it on my blog, I send it out to my list, everybody that's on my list. I might upload it to LinkedIn as another article. And then you can take that written content and you can pull out quotes and do, Facebook quotes. I mean, you can just take that one piece of content and use it in so many different ways. And again, we're talking about a system. Once I learned about that, it's like, well, that's a no-brainer. Then, and for somebody just thinking about it, they think, oh, that's a lot of work. It's not, because the system, and again, those documents, if I'm not doing something every day, I forget how to do it. I just pull out my little document. It's like, oh yeah, this is how I add that, or this is how I upload the caption file, and it just makes it really easy.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And that's a process I am going through with my VA. And we're very backed up with it all because I'm doing too many lives.
Yeah.
I'm doing too much content. So, but
well,
yes.
that's a good thing, though.
But the repurposing takes time. It
yes.
does. It does take time, and it is a matter of getting those systems together. And even and I've been doing this even through the process of having the lives with different experts in different areas, just trying to figure out how many social media platforms to repurpose to.
Yeah,
because that in itself goes on and on and on. So
yeah,
but I think first you need to kind of figure out how many places I can to send this content to, so that we can actually sleep as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we have to pick which areas and just be content with that, I guess.
And I guess that comes back to your mind map, doesn't it? Because you have all these possibilities, and then it's a matter of going in and looking. And I guess that's the process I've been working through with my VA is, okay, we have all these options. We haven't done it in that visual sense, which might have helped actually to have done that, and we could probably go back and do that. So
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, mind map, anything with mind map is just such a useful tool. It really is.
Absolutely. So,
yeah.
Well, you've certainly got me thinking, and I can think of so many different ways I can free up some time. And maybe have a holiday.
Yeah, just think of all the time you're going to save by getting your systems into place. Yeah, absolutely.
And also the delegation, because that's crucial too. And I think that's where a lot of people fall down, is that they are the center of the hub. They have done everything and can't even imagine delegating it, and probably couldn't delegate it because it's all in their heads. And so they then burn themselves out doing everything, whereas what they need to do is invest that time, as you say, document it so that you then have those processes, because we aren't that special that we're the only ones who can do everything. We actually can delegate. It's taking that time out to get those in place.
Yeah. So, and that's actually one of the of this new course that I'm rolling out. That's actually one of the modules that I'll be teaching, is helping people learn how to create the playbook, so that you've got it all documented. And because none of us want to be a slave to our business. We got into being entrepreneurs for the freedom. I mean, that's the main thing, and the joy and the passion of actually working with our clients, not being a slave to posting on social media or trying to track down documents and stuff. So
absolutely. This has been incredibly informative, really helpful. Thank you for your time. And
absolutely.
I will have a look who's commented #KEM, and I will get in touch with those. I'll send them your Calendly link, and I'll put up all this information as well in a post after the live.
Great.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you.
Yes.
That's tuned in. And if you have any questions for Debbie after the live, just remember to tag her so that she's a busy lady. And that way she'll know that you have a question for her. And I'm sure that you'll do your best to reply and respond and inform. So
yes. Oh, and you know what? I totally forgot. Speaking of social media, if anybody wanted to join my Facebook group, I hope it's okay if I just throw that out there. You know, I throw up little training things like this too. So they're welcome to join us there.
And how would they search for you? Just under your name or Star Consulting?
Start Consulting is my business page, and then the Facebook group name is Systems to Scale Your Business.
Okay, Systems to Scale Your Business. Awesome.
Yep.
I'll add that to the.
Great. Okay.
Thank you so much. And
yeah, it has been great.
It has been great, and we will tune in same time next week with our. I think we have a guest expert. I'll have to check my calendar. Otherwise, it will be me. Haven't thought that far ahead yet. Need to get some systems into play. So it's been great. So it's been an awesome live. We have learned the importance of systems, how it can save you an incredible amount of time, and how systems can also enable you to delegate so that you can focus on what you need to be focusing on, which is being the CEO of your business. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you here, same place next week at the KEM WordPress community. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.